Today, I'm going to be talking about Man of Steel and kind of the difference between Zack Snyder's movie and James Gunn's recent Superman movie that just came out. I think it's really interesting how differently people are seeing both of these movies. It's almost like a Rorschach test. And I just think it's interesting how so many fans are obsessed and love the Man of Steel movie when it came out, and even to this day. And I'm seeing the same thing with James Gunn's DC and Superman movie. So I'll start to break down Man of Steel first because I rewatched that last night. I saw it for the first time when I was 12 and I thought it was all right. I gave it like a 5 or 6 out of 10. And when I rewatched it last night, I really thought I was going to take more away from it, but I really didn't. And honestly, I might like it less than when I first saw it. I feel like as a movie, it just has nothing that I would want from a Superman movie. It is dark, it's gritty. I feel like the characters are just not as deep or motivated as in James Gunn's Superman. And I think one of my biggest complaints with it is that I relate and I empathize more with a genocidal alien war general who's a complete psychopath more than I do with Superman in this movie. And I get that that's kind of James Gunn's thing. Like, that's what he's going for. He wants Superman to be more of a god or mythical figure or even Jesus. I don't like that. I like Superman in the comics or in the animated show. I like when Superman is nice or just helping people or just being a normal dude. I think for this movie, I never see that. I see General Zod at the start of the movie being motivated by starting another society of Krypton on Earth because his planet was destroyed, and this is kind of his identity. And he sees Superman as a threat to Krypton. I think in his mind, Superman symbolizes why Krypton failed. And so there is this urgency to kill Superman. And Michael Shannon is such a phenomenal actor in this movie. Like, I feel like this is his movie. I feel like this is General Zod's movie. It is dark. It's gritty. It feels like it was written by a psychopath just because of how little emotion Superman or any other character in this movie portrays. It's just fucking bizarre to me. And I get that there's a lot of things this movie does right for certain people, but for me, that's just not what I want out of a Superman movie. I don't want to see Superman or a farm, people's deaths, or buildings blowing up. I don't want to see Superman throwing Michael Shannon into gas stations and IHOP and all this like insane shit. Like, if this was real, Superman would have thrown him in a field or something away from people. And I get there's like moments where Zod is throwing him across the city and like killing people and blah blah blah, and obviously uh, he's just trying to desperately get a hold of Zod in some way to like stop killing people, and that's cool. But I don't know. It's just there's so many things I have wrong with it. I can do another video on it if any of you would like to see that. Just let me know in the comments. But moving on to James Gunn's Superman, I think James Gunn's Superman is possibly my favorite superhero movie I've seen in years. I love this movie. I am so excited to see the new DC universe. I am more than on board with James Gunn's vision. I am a James Gunn dick rider. I do not care. I will admit that. I will be out in the open about it. I love James Gunn. I love Guardians 3. I love Peacemaker. I love The Suicide Squad. Great movies. I think he's a phenomenal writer. I think that's what he does best. And for me, that's why I think Superman is better than Man of Steel. At least for me, just because the writing is better. I know the plot is very fast. It's very convoluted in some parts, but for the most part, the action, the characters, everything that is happening is just like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, it is just moving so fast that I am thoroughly engaged and interested, and I want to see it again. I was going to see it yesterday, but every theater I looked at was packed. So I'm hoping that this movie also does good to show Warner Brothers that if you do characters right, if you have a good script, and if a movie is just entertaining above all else, then people will pay to see it, and you will make more money off of that. I don't know how it took them this long to figure it out, but I don't really care. I just want them to get it right now. And it looks like that's what's happening from here on out. I love James Gunn's Superman. I could also do another video on this if you guys want to see a review of that. I think it does Lois Lane great. I think it does Superman great. I think it does everyone great. I think it is such a good movie, and I had so much fun. I haven't had this much fun watching a movie in so long. Lex Luthor is absolutely evil. It's colorful. It feels like a comic book, and it's just fun. It's just fun. And if I'm going to compare these two movies, I would say that's my biggest issue. Man of Steel is not fun. It is not a fun movie. The first hour to hour and a half is just exposition and shit happening. And I'm just automatically supposed to be on Superman's side because, oh, he's a good guy. He's here and he's better than everyone else. And he's like Jesus. Cool. But I'm never actually given a reason. It seems like everything in Man of Steel is just happening. And Henry Cavill just kind of goes with the flow and like goes along with the motions. And he never makes decisions that have really any, it feels like he makes decisions that don't really have any effect, or it doesn't drastically change the movie. And what I mean by that is when he's growing up, he does stuff that he feels like he has to. Like he saves a school bus full of kids. And he's just doing what anyone would do in that situation. Like, I think the only person who wouldn't save a bus full of kids would be a fucking psychopath. And so when he's talking to his dad about it, and his dad is like, or he's like, should I have just let them die? And his dad is just like, I don't know, maybe. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what is this movie? Like, I get it. They're trying to make Man of Steel feel like a god who is silent, and you're supposed to resonate with him in a very reflective way. But I don't really like that. I feel like James Gunn's Superman is just so vibrant and bright, and I believe his character arc. He was raised by people in Kansas who are rural people who just want to do the right thing, who are simple and have a very simple view in life that you need to do the right thing. And I think that translates very well with Superman, considering the start of the movie is him interfering in the Superman verse of Israel Palestine. And I think everything just connects so well, character wise. And I think the most interesting part about both of these movies is how it captures two completely different fan bases and kind of makes them fight against each other. You have people who don't really care about characters, or don't care about story as much, or don't care about what would make a emotional or heartfelt or comic-y or humorous movie. And that would be Zack Snyder fans. They want something dark. They want something gritty. They want something more realistic, I guess. And they want Superman to be a god and not a human who relates to us or we can see ourselves in. They want him to be larger than life. And Superman, like James Gunn fans, on the other hand, want Superman to be relatable. They want him to be hopeful. They want him to have themes of unity and humanity. I feel like in James Gunn's Superman, Superman feels more human than actual humans I know in real life. Additionally, they want him to be lighthearted and comic-y and bright and vibrant and the complete opposite of Zack Snyder's Superman. So I just think it's very interesting how both of these fan bases are so starkly different, and I've never really seen anything quite like this for movies. The closest thing I can think of, like, it is literally almost political how different these movies are and these fan bases are, and how much both fan bases have just stuck their feet into the sand and they're just not moving, they're not budging, and it is constant arguing. And it's kind of exhausting looking at all of these forums and all of the online discourse between these two movies, because I don't think Man of Steel is a great movie. I think it's fine. I think James Gunn's Superman is fantastic. But even then, I'd give that as a movie a 7 out of 10. I think as a Superman movie, it might get a 9 or a 10 out of 10 for me. Zack Snyder's movie, on the other hand, like, I think it's a 5 out of 10 for a movie. And for a Superman movie, I honestly want to give it like a 6 at the most. But even with that being said, that's just because I have my biases and I lean more towards characters and political commentary and more consistency and emotion put into a script. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if you like to go to the movies, you just want to see a blockbuster that is action oriented and gritty with a lot of exposition, Zack Snyder is your guy. I have no problem with that. But I think it's just very weird how separated this online discourse is, and just wanted to make a video on it. So, with that being said, what did you think about both of these movies in the comments below? What would you rate them out of 10 as a superhero movie, a Superman movie, and just a movie in general? Thank you for watching this kind of rant, and let me know if you'd want to see any breakdowns or a longer video on this, or just a full-on review of Man of Steel or the new Superman movie. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.